Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to the State Street Midweek update, where we spend some time having a good time, but also talking about what's happening at the church and what's happening at the Pax Center and the gardens and the green space. And Pastor Becky and I will talk a little bit about our sermon time and a little more details about that. We'll probably get a little silly because that's what we do. And we're excited today because we're going to talk about our plans to restart our in-person gatherings here at State Street. And I know many of you have been waiting on those plans, and we're excited to announce them. And if I'm a little honest with you, I'm a little nervous because obviously this pandemic is not over. There are numbers that are increasing. We just had the most cases in America that we've had yet in one day. But I do believe we have figured out a way to have services that mitigate enough risk as possible. Not that it's mitigated all risk, but mitigated quite a bit of risk. And we'll continue to take it from there. And if we have to go back into having online only services, if things get bad, we'll do that again. But I'm excited about explaining the details about that later. Talk a little bit about our new sermon series. Talk about our question of the week, and it's a Father's Day question. But before I go any further, let me introduce my incredible co-host, my co-worker, co-laborer, Pastor Becky Crain. Hello, Pastor Becky Crain. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know what you're talking about, me being silly. I think I think you're the forefront of the silliness there.
There was an accusation that we're a little bit silly on this, and it's not a lie. I am a little silly.
I am too.
I like silliness, and if you can't be silly, I just can't. You're not going to probably like me much because it's all I am.
Yeah.
But hey, good to see people streaming with us today. Good to see you, Charlotte Schoaf, John Cooper, Amy Warner, Aaron Conlon. Hi, everyone. Check in. Let us know how you're doing. We do miss you. How's your week, Beck?
It's not bad.
You had to go out. Was it New York or Pennsylvania?
I stayed Friday night in Binghamton, New York, and drove 10 and a half hours to get there Friday, and then turned right back around Saturday and came back, dropping my daughter off at a camp she's working at in Pennsylvania, which is just south of Binghamton, New York. But she's actually doing well. I've been hearing from her this week, and she was a little unsure at first, as any new situation, but she's doing pretty good, actually. So that's good. But it was a long drive. And
did she call you and ask you to come get her?
No. Well, that's what I was worried about, that she wasn't going to like it. I'm like, well, you're there.
Not driving back out to Binghamton. I love you. My love does have limits.
20 hours in 2 days. But she said she's getting to like it. And she said she's getting to be a better swimmer.
Oh, really? Is she like coaching swimming or teaching swimming?
No.
Because it's like a sports camp, right?
It is a sports camp. Swimming's not her strong suit, but I think they have a lot of downtime and they're on a lake. So sounds fun to me.
Yeah. We did Little League this year, and we really debated whether or not to do it. We were leaning not to do it, but my son really wanted to do Little League. So we gave in, and after reading how the rules are going to be socially distanced, all these kind of things, and everything was going to, I think, seemingly be done well. And so we've had Little League for Finley, and Tuesday night we had a game. He had to be there at 6:15. Game started at 7. I don't think we left that ballpark until 10 o'clock. It was like a major league game. And here's the thing, Beck. They didn't even get through all 6 innings. Like that's how long the game took.
I remember those days. Yeah, Jesse played that where they have to go through everybody and they have to get ahead, and
there's no rule you have to go through everyone. That's just how much the defense is struggling in the whole league right now. But they're going to get better.
We only did one season of baseball for Jesse, but I did do softball with Grace. That was fun.
Yeah. So it's fun. My son loves it. He really does. Finn loves baseball, and so it's fun to see him out there with a team. And it's the only sport he does. Obviously, Nora's not. She doesn't love sports. She loves reading and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And Harry's still figuring out what he loves. So other than me, he tells me he loves me all the time. But, so anyway, you ready for birthdays and anniversaries?
I am.
All right. Hey, everyone. If it's your birthday or an anniversary, we want you to know that we love you, we care about you, and we are so glad you're in this community. And if it's your birthday, we are glad that you were born. Truly, we are glad that our paths have crossed. If it's your anniversary, whether it's a year or 50 years, we celebrate with you, and may you have many, many more to come. So here is our list of birthdays this week. Kristen Schwartz-Schultz, happy birthday.
Barista extraordinaire. We love you. I think her birthday's today, isn't it?
It is today. Yeah. Happy birthday, Kristen.
Happy birthday. We miss you.
Yeah. Rick Dolson, happy birthday, buddy.
Rick. I love Rick. Rick and Cheryl, they're like the sweetest people ever. So
Yeah, very
birthday.
kind.
Enjoy
Yeah.
your day.
You know who else is very kind? Kathy Jesse. It's your birthday, Kathy.
Jesse, happy birthday.
And Renee John Kind, happy birthday, kiddo.
Well, she's like getting bigger now. She's getting older.
No,
Yeah.
everyone's a kiddo. Everyone younger than me is a kiddo.
Yeah.
So, Laura Graber, happy birthday.
Laura.
Yep. I hope you have a great day. Great birthday. That's all. That's all we have for birthdays this week.
Yeah. Always get something fun at the end of the month. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that's all we had, and we wish you all a happy birthday. If we don't know if you had a birthday and we didn't call it, it's because we don't have it. Let us know, and we will get you on our birthday list and our database, and it means a lot to us. We'll send you a card, and we're just grateful for you. Okay, it's anniversary time. All right, we got a couple three.
Yeah.
All right. Tony.
I can't
Tony,
not do it now.
Tony, Becky. If it was Becky, we could do like BECKY, like the traditional BECKE, maybe double E.
IE.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Well, I'm trying to remember how Tony did it, because theirs was spelled 3 different ways.
I don't care.
I just don't remember. Anyway, so birthdays and anniversaries. Here are our anniversaries. Bud and Donna Barony, happy anniversary.
So fun.
We love you
Good
guys.
To know you. Happy anniversary. Do something fun.
Wayne and Michelle Peoples, happy anniversary.
Neighbors, right?
What's that?
They're your neighbors, right?
They are my neighbors. They're great neighbors too. Wayne is a wonderful cook, and he smokes meats and stuff like that, and he shares them because he's generous and kind.
He's volunteered at some of our events in the past, and we greatly appreciate that.
Yep, absolutely. And then Jared and Kelly Benson, happy anniversary. Yep. And that's all the anniversaries we have for this week. Happy anniversary. Happy birthday, everyone. We love you. And we hope you have a great week coming up ahead. So our question of the day. So did you guys do anything fun for Father's Day, by the way?
We had my parents and my sister over for lunch, and Joel smoked a brisket, and we just kind of hung out.
Oh, nice. We didn't really do much, but Emma and the kids did. They always make a big deal and make me feel special on that day. But they made Emma makes the best French toast. It's like my favorite thing, but it takes time and energy and effort. And so we had I got home and we had French toast and bacon and all the great stuff for breakfast type of stuff. So it was wonderful. And the kids made me cards and all this kind of thing. And I forget what Norris said, but it made me laugh. It was something about, if ever you feel like a failure in life, know that you had great looking kids. It was something like that. And it wasn't even like a store-bought card. It was like what she wrote to me to make me feel better.
Obviously, yeah, that's funny. I would have cooked for Father's Day, but Joel prefers to when it's something like that. So especially meat,
Did you get Joel anything or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing: is we do presents. But I'm a terrible person at telling people what I want. Like we'll ask, so what do you want for Father's Day? Or give me some ideas. I just don't know. The older I get, the less I know. But typically if I'm going to say something, it's going to be gadgety. I want something that I can play with or something like that. And like a new toothbrush that's like a Quip toothbrush or something, right?
Cool. My kids are way past the making gifts stage. So it's mostly me figuring it out, which, it's fine. But we got them, the Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, which is it's a show on Netflix about cooking. And, we got him the book because the show is just beautiful. Even if you don't like food, but if you do, it's just done so beautifully. And he's been into that show. So I saw that book. I'm like, yeah, he'd like that. And then I got him a gadgety thing too. So.
Yeah. Nice. And he does love to cook, doesn't he?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So today's question of the week, and we'd love to hear from you as well. Put in our comments if there's anything that you want to add to this, or anything. If you want to answer the question, we always love reading your comments on this. But in honor of Father's Day last Sunday, what is a memorable lesson or lessons that your dad taught you? Becky, why don't you go? I know many people know your dad is a former pastor at Countryside Christian Church and a principal and a teacher. I think he spent most of his life giving lessons and teaching, but it's different when you're a dad, right? And so what did your dad teach you?
Yeah, and because, I grew up being Rick Jones's daughter, which, to be honest, I didn't mind as a kid. I loved being a pastor's kid. I know some people don't, but I really liked it. But with that comes, a little notoriety, because I often am. Oh, you're Rick Jones's daughter, which your kids are going to get that too, because everybody knows Nate Loucks. So your kids are going to get that as they grow up. But one of the things I really appreciated about my dad as I was growing up, that even though, I was a pastor's kid and everybody knew me, he always allowed me to be who I was. And oftentimes, I wasn't a super rebellious kid, so that's probably good. But I also wasn't a typical, I'm not always a typical girl either. And he always stood up for me, which I appreciated, because a lot of people in his, being in that position of being well known, people always want to give their advice. Oh, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. And he always basically said, she's fine. She's going to be who she is. And he allowed me to kind of be who I was. And that, I always was a kind of a strong personality, a bit opinionated.
You?
Yeah. And it didn't, he was okay with that, and not always, let's be truthful, as a girl, not always the message you're going to get that's okay in the church. That's changing, fortunately. Not everywhere, but he was always okay with me having a strong opinion and being smart. I want to be smart. I like being smart. And he encouraged me to be smart. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, it is. We laugh sometimes because, you'll run into, you get this, I don't, but it always makes me laugh when somebody tells you, what would your dad think?
I've gotten that a few times. When they disagree with me, they're like, what would your dad say? I'm like, well, number one, I'm a grown woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also really demonstrates that they don't know you well. Right. You're not going to care, right? What does your dad think?
To be honest,
what does Nate think? What does
I know?
One of the things I love most about you, Becky, is I know that I'm going to get your opinion when I ask it, and you're not going to. You're never rude. You're never mean, but you're always gonna stand up for what you believe in, and I think that's a great thing.
And my dad's fine with disagreeing with me and having conversations. And that's, I think a lot of times people don't understand it. When they say, what would your dad say? Which honestly, it does make me laugh, because I'm like, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm allowed to have some opinions, but the reality is my dad's okay with my opinions too. So he's not offended. He's not even offended when we disagree. So
yeah. It's interesting though. You mentioned about pastors' kids because your kids are kind of pastors. I mean, you became a pastor a little bit later in life, but you were always involved with the church and church staff and things like that. So I think they are. But also, obviously, my kids have not known any life outside of me being the lead pastor of the church, and church has always been for you second home for them, right? They run around this place like they own it, and so. But I am always, because my wife was a pastor's kid as well, and I'm always cognizant that your story, Becky, is unique. More people I hear from have baggage from being pastors' kids, and so some of them not, but a lot of them I hear from that I went to school. There's a lot of pastors' kids and missionaries' kids at Bethel and in Christian schools and stuff like that. But and so I think and I pray a lot about that for my kids because I know that they are also, like you have with your dad, going to be on their own journey, right? And so the only thing I can do probably is demonstrate a good faith, right? A faith of love and justice, but also of kindness and mercy, and let them figure a lot of things out, just like people let me figure a lot of things out. But I think what is great about your dad is in what you say is there is a lot of pressure for pastors to have their families all put together, right? And so there is that, I think, built-in pressure to say you've got it all figured out. Your family has it all figured out. They say all the right things, they do all the right things, and they know all of the Bible front and back, and they never question or ask questions about their faith. And so I appreciate it about your dad. So happy Father's Day, Rick Jones. I think Becky's especially grateful for you, but I am as well. For my dad, I grew up in a divorced house, so always split between the two, and I love my parents both, and so for my dad, I think I've learned a lot, and I still do learn a lot. And one of the things I've learned, I think, is and this sounds very blue collar, maybe too Hoosier for me, but I mean it, the value of hard work. I like work. I like, one of the things my dad has always done is you're not better than the thing that you get asked to do. And so if you get asked to do it and you think it's beneath you, then you have too high of a view of yourself. And so don't think that you're above any bit of work. I think it's, there's, and we could talk about some downsides to having that idea. I think my dad has taught me, to learn to love work and to enjoy work. But as we got older, also he's warned me not to choose work over my family, which is, I think, a warning that came with experience. But he's taught me a lot about that. And one of the things that my grandparents, my dad and my grandfathers, were best friends, and they were business partners, and they were just together every day. And one of the things they did, I've said this before at State Street, they're different political persuasions, they're different generational, but they were best friends, and they loved each other, and they disagreed a lot. And they disagreed on politics, they disagreed on business. Towards the end, my grandfather kind of, let my dad lead a lot more because he was getting confused and stuff like that, and he knew it. But I saw what that did in a relationship. They can have disagreement and still love each other deeply, and still not only just love each other, but respect each other as well, and respect each other's opinions. And I think my dad's done that for me, and he's taught me to value other people's opinions that I don't agree with, because him and I don't always agree with each other, and that's okay. Yeah, anybody that's around here, enough knows that. So. But I love him deeply, and I love him, and I care for him, and I'm grateful for him. And so, if you're listening, Dad, you're probably not.
Could you tell him to stop picking on me?
No, that is how my dad shows that he loves you. He picks on you.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah. So happy Father's Day, Dad. Happy Father's Day, Rick. We are grateful for you. All right, so we are going to move on now to our next section of our midweek update to talk about our COVID-19 plans and agenda. And I'm excited. We've been working on this for, really months, but really intently for a month since the survey to talk about our plans to restart the in-person services. And, first, let's talk back a little bit about what we're nervous about. Obviously, we're grateful that in Indiana, our numbers seem to be down right now. LaPorte County seems to be down. I think if that wasn't the case, we probably would be going with a different plan, or, we'd maybe even be more nervous about going forward with this plan. But right now, Indiana, everyone, I think, seems to be doing what you need to do. There are states, especially in the South right now, Arizona, Texas, and Florida particularly, that are being ravaged. It's just crazy right now. And we watch that intently because we know that could happen in Indiana. So, we do this with our eyes wide open, looking at what's happening in the country. We do have people here that have had coronavirus. We have doctors here that we got their opinions on what to do. We obviously had a survey of our parishioners where 130, I think, two of you filled out a survey about what you're going to do. And there's been a lot of great feedback. And Pastor Becky and I have said before that we really were, I guess, blown away, maybe just very grateful and appreciative of so many comments that just said, we know that it's a tough season. And that we trust leadership, and we, regardless of where we go with this, we honor how hard it is right now, and we trust where we're at, and that just meant a lot because, if I'm being honest, I've lost a lot of sleep over this because trying to figure out how to go forward and mitigate the most amount of risk, while also, I think, Beck, for us, we also want to provide a service that seems like State Street. And so anyway, so I think we do have the right policies going forward. And I think we figured out a good plan in collaboration with our staff and our leadership team and the CDC and the Indiana Department of Health and some other sources. And so if you want to go right now to statestreet.tv/welcome back, that's statestreet.tv/welcome back. You will see what we are going to do to restart our in-person services. And I'll summarize them real quick for you. So we are going to have our first in-person services on Sunday, July 12th. And we are moving our service times from to 8:30 and 10:30 to give an extra half hour. So we already have some space, but we're going to give even more space between services for disinfecting and cleaning and sanitizing and things like that. Things are going to look a little different, but we do believe that we're going to have a great service that can, we can enjoy and be together and worship together. We've kind of devised this into 3 phases, just like the state devised, I think, 4 phases. We've got this in 3 phases, and I know everyone's phased out, but there are some things we're trying to do going forward, and it is kind of like dipping our toes in the water just to make sure. The first phase is we're going to open up to services without children's ministry. Beck, was it the CDC or the Indiana Department of Health? Maybe both of them recommended we don't do children's ministry until school starts back, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And we're going to honor that. We think that's wise. We're also
we're trying to read from the schools so we can, make sense to have continuity there.
Yeah, I think so. I think continuity between the schools is important, policies and things like that. So we are not going to have children's ministry right away. However, we do invite your whole family to come with us. And I know for some of you, you say, well, my kids just can't deal with that. We understand. When my kids were very, very little, they probably couldn't either. Now, I will say we will have an ability to spread out. We will have the adult classroom open for more seating. We'll also have the coffee shop open without coffee being served, but the TV will be on. If your kids get a little antsy and you need to space out, or we will have space for you to go with them. But for the time being, we will do 2 services that are just family-based. It's like my old Methodist roots. I remember at Lamb's Chapel when I was little, I had to sit on, when I get in trouble, when I wouldn't be quiet enough, I had to sit on my Grandpa Loucks' lap, and I always knew that I wasn't gonna. Well, again, divorced family here, so I only had to go to church every other week, you know. But yes, every other week, my Grandpa Loucks, I knew I was in trouble when my Grandpa Loucks would grab me and put me on his lap. I had pushed the limits a little too far. Anyway, so then phase 2, we will start children's ministry again at one of our services. And we will then, on phase 3, go back to full service children's ministry. In addition, we will only have a limited amount of spots in our sanctuary. We are setting up as essentially chair clusters. There'll be 3 chairs against the wall, 6 chairs in the middle, 5 or 6, and then 3 on the other wall. And there will then be 6 feet in between those, as the recommendations are, and then we will socially distance on those. And so we recommend if you're only with 1 or 2 or 3 people, you sit in the chairs that only have 3 chairs. If you have a family, sit in the middle section where your family can be together. We will have volunteers there to help with that process as well. In each of the clusters of chairs, the 3s and the 6 chairs, we will have hand sanitizer in they're like little almost shower caddies. Each one of those will have hand sanitizer in them with some other stuff in there. You will probably get tired in how much hand sanitizer we have going around this place. You will be able to bathe in it because, again, we want to make sure there's enough. We will then, when you come into the service, and I'm going all around, all this stuff is on the website, but also with Eucharist, we will not be doing our traditional Eucharist where you come forward and you grab it. Again, we're trying to mitigate lines and being too close. Instead, we will have a volunteer that hands you a pre-package that we have bought that is certified to be safe. It'll be a prepackaged, it's got juice and a wafer in there. You will get that when you come in. And so we'll have a time of Eucharist together, just like we normally do. We just won't be traveling during that process. What else, Beck, am I missing? We'll have a PPE table in the foyer with more hand sanitizer with our communion elements. We'll also have masks on that table. The question is are we going to mandate masks? We are not mandating masks. And that, if I could be honest, that was a big debate we had. That was probably one of our biggest debates as a staff and leadership about what to do. But what we're going to do is we are going to allow people to make that decision. However, we're going to encourage social distancing in every bit of this. Our staff and our volunteers will be wearing masks when they are in positions when they can't properly social distance. Again, if you're 6 or 8 feet away from the next person, or if you're just only close to your family, not as big of a deal, they say. But if you are in a close quarters where you cannot maintain a safe distance, like our greeters won't be able to when they come through, and the people handing out the communion and stuff like that, we will have them wear masks. And Pastor Becky can agree with me. One of the things for us is we want to mitigate as much risk as possible. But the thing that I want more than anything is if you come into State Street, our volunteers and staff will not be giving you the coronavirus because we will be doing everything we can to prevent spread from our staff and our volunteers and our leadership team. I do think you can come in and socially distance. We do think you're going to be able to be in here safe. We do think you're going to be able to, we've got enough policies that you will not have to be close to anybody that is going to put you in danger. Now, I will say, probably about half of the respondents to our survey said they're going to wear masks, and we welcome that. If you have a medical condition or if there's something that you can't or you just have some kind of issue with wearing masks, you do not have to wear a mask. And again, I know this is probably one of the more contentious parts of this whole pandemic, which really irritates me, if I'm being frank, because it shouldn't be contentious, but it is. And so we want to respect each other and be patient with each other and be kind as we go forward. Also, releasing, that's another thing, Beck, is releasing people from the sanctuary. If you've been to State Street before, you know that getting out of our sanctuary, we have one door to get out. We have an emergency door, but one door to get out, one main door, and it's a bottleneck. So we will actually, the person preaching will dismiss you by rote so that you can greet the pastor that's preaching and see them. And that way there's not a bottleneck. What else? So anyway, the question becomes then, what do we do if we want to spend time with people? Because again, church is not just about worship. It's not just about the teaching. It's not just about Eucharist. It's about the people. And so what we've decided to do, because the experts say that there is less chance of coronavirus spread outside, we've decided to set up our backyard for just being together. And so we will have, we're still working out what the details will be on that, how it will look, but we will have drinks and all of that kind of stuff in the back to come and to spend time with your friends and to see people. And again, we know that that's an important part of our church community. And so it's the thing, if I'm being honest, the thing I miss the most. And so we want to, if we can, create environments where that can happen with the mitigation as much as possible to eliminate as much risk. What else am I forgetting, Beck? Anything major that we want to talk about?
No, I think you hit the main points, and people can always go to the website. You've got a, frequently asked question section on there so they can read it for themselves. And then if there's questions that we're not addressing, they can send them in and we can, we're going to be adding to that because we're learning. And if there is a question that we're not addressing, we want to know.
Absolutely. And Charlotte asks, what about your wheelchair? Absolutely, we will have a spot for you, Charlotte. That's another thing. In the beginning, the first couple of weeks, you can expect us to probably ask you to register, just like we do for just over dinner. And if you don't register, it's fine. We're going to have a spot for you. But it only helps us know we're only going to have so many spots in the sanctuary right away. And it just helps us know how many to expect so that, if we need to do more overflow in one of the other rooms, we can. Be patient with us. We're working this out. We're figuring this out. A lot of people naturally were very concerned when we filled out the survey. And again, so are we. But I think if everyone is the right spirit and the right heart and the right mindset to do this and cares about your neighbor, I mean, that's what this is all about, is doing what's best for your neighbor. I think we can make this happen and we can have in-person services all over again. Yes. One other thing.
Because Nate can't handle it if you're going to be mean and mad.
I've had enough of it. I've had enough of the meanness. I'm just sensitive.
He wants everyone to get along.
Well, again, it's just you and me right now. Probably nobody's watching, right? So let me tangent a little bit, Crain, for you.
I won't.
There's no precedent for this,
right.
And we are doing the best we can. And we have people, if we're being honest with you, that are upset at us that we have not started services yet, and we have people literally begging us not to restart services yet. And to be truthful, we look at the rise in numbers in certain states and we do get concerned about it. Mm-hmm. And we are going to continue having our eyes. I am lucky enough to be on the county's coronavirus task force, where they send all the emails and updates for what's happening behind the scenes in the county. So we will know if there's an outbreak or if there's starting to be an outbreak. And again, we will be on top of this. This is not something that, we have a policy and this is our policy for going forward. People can say, what happens this winter? We don't know. We truly don't know. We're just looking right now at the next couple months to say, what can we do to figure out a way in the next couple of months to be together as much as possible and to have a service and to worship God together and to hopefully, experience a little bit of normalcy again, because I know I need that. Yeah. So, but again, all the policies are on there. I think if there's anything, we'll add it. If you have any questions, like I said, shoot Becky or I or the State Street Facebook page a message. We'd love to talk to you about it or answer it. If you have any other questions, you can let us know, and we'd love to talk to you about it. Excited about that. Last week, we started a new series called Breakthrough, and we talked about Peter and the denial of Christ by Peter. And again, one of my favorite stories of Peter, there's a lot of, Peter is all over the New Testament. He's written certain books and he's a central figure, but lots of great stuff with Peter, Simon Peter. But one of the things I love about this is the restoration of Peter, and that the thing that I think many people think is the worst thing you can do is deny Christ, right? Deny Christ. And Peter did it not just once, he did it 3 times. And Christ brings him back into the fold, and not just as like a secondary character, as the very person that Christ is going to build the church on. And I think we don't give that story enough room to breathe in our faith sometimes, that Christ builds the church on the person that not just denied Jesus once or twice, but 3 times, and brings him back in. And I really, that story speaks to my faith so much, because I live in so much shame, so much about, not doing the right things or things like that. And I don't think, maybe you speak more to this, but I don't think there's a place for that kind of shame in a faith that's growing.
I agree.
We use some quotes by Brene Brown. Yeah, me too. And one of those quotes is, let's see here. Oh, shame corrodes the very part of us that believes that we are capable of change. I really love that quote, and I wanted to make sure that I got that into my sermon, because, again, if you're constantly feeling shame and that you are not worthy and that God cannot possibly love you or be a part of, you can't be a part of the movement of God, of the movement of love and justice in this world, and that shame is constantly telling you that you can't, I think you'll slowly start believing it. And the story of resurrection and the story of redemption is that Christ takes those things that are dead in us and in this world and brings them back alive again. And that's not a story of shame. That's a story of victory and triumph. Another thing that Brene Brown said that I totally stole was shame derives its power from being unspeakable, and that there's a power to speaking the things that we're ashamed about. So I thought it'd be good, Becky, for you to tell me and everyone listening all the things that you've done that you're ashamed about. Go.
Oh, okay.
That's what Brene Brown wants me to do. But anyway,
Okay.
if you haven't listened to it, if you haven't watched it, we encourage you to do it. Breakthrough week 1. Great worship set as well, and it's online. You can watch it, listen to it, and I'm excited about this series. We start, or this week we're in John 4, and if you want to read John 4 beforehand, you're welcome to. And anything else to add to that, Crain?
Nope. I'm looking forward to this week. That's one of my favorite stories in John 4. So no going into it. It's one of Becky's favorite stories. So I don't want to hear any sass from you, or you're going to hurt, not from you, Beck, from any of our listeners and watchers, because you'll hurt Becky's feelings. So, all right, I do have an announcement given to us by the Pax Center program manager, Jason Clemens. So hear ye, here is this announcement. Next Tuesday, which would be July 2nd. No, I forget. It's not. 28th. So
what is it?
Sunday's the 28th, so it's the 30th.
Okay, next Tuesday the 30th. Citizens Concerned for the Homeless, Center Township Trustee's Office, LaPorte Salvation Army, the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte, and the Pax Center will be hosting a dairy giveaway from 10:30 to 12:30 p.m. at the Pax Center. So next Tuesday, 10:30 to 12:30, there's a dairy giveaway at the Pax Center. The event is open to anyone needing milk. The Pax Center though, we are going to need 5 to 7 volunteers to help us unload 400 cases of dairy off a semi at 9:15 in the morning.
That's a lot of dairy.
So it's a lot of milk, and we're going to be giving all of that away with our partners here. In addition, a couple of volunteers, Jason says, we're going to need to help load the boxes into people's vehicles from 10:30 to 12:30. Mm-hmm. So if you can help at 9:15 next Tuesday, unload the milk from the semi, please contact Jason Clemens or contact Becky or I, and we'll get you in contact with him. If you can help from 10:30 to 12:30 to help load the milk into people's cars as well, let us know. We need volunteers at both of those, or Jason does, and we'd love to have you help if you can. So again, next Tuesday, milk giveaway. Also share that news, the great milk giveaway of 2020 at the Pax Center to anybody that's in need. All right, last section here, Beck. This is it. Share something with the group. It's time for show and tell. I wish I had a theme song for this, by the way. I think that's from The Price is Right, by the way. Anyway, show and tell. What do you got this week?
At the top of my list this week is a podcast. It's either a podcast or a book, always. But the Evolving Faith team has put out a new podcast. This is Sarah Bessie and Jeff Chu. It also included Rachel Held Evans before she passed last year. But this first episode was dropped yesterday. And they actually play an old sermon by Rachel Held Evans from their first Evolving Faith conference. And it was just...
You and I just adore, we love Rachel.
I know, she's been so influential in my faith journey. And I mean, I cried before she started talking, because they were introducing her. And then after she spoke, they had a conversation with her husband and her sister, just about her and the message that she brought. And I love one of the things she said. She said, this is for believers who doubt and doubters who sometimes believe. And
that's beautiful.
I'm just reminded that there's always space. You know, the gospel is always about inviting people in and never pushing people out. And it was just a beautiful message. And I suggested I'm always gonna love Rachel Held Evans. So, but it's particularly good.
Absolutely. And you know, this week for me, I haven't read a ton of new stuff. I'm still working through some of the stuff that we've talked about here in the past. I will say tomorrow, I'm excited. I've been invited to, maybe this is going to get me into trouble more than anything, but I've been invited to host Sound Off on WCOE here locally. So if you aren't tired of my silliness yet, my voice, then you can listen on 96.7 The Eagle from 12:30 to 1, and I will be hosting Sound Off with tomorrow's guest is Mayor Tom Dermody, and you're welcome to call in and ask all the deep questions.
Crazy questions.
Oh, I hope you do, and I really do. I hope everyone calls in because I love craziness. So call in and
as my voice.
Yeah. Do you have a question I can ask? You have anything you want to know?
I don't know. I feel like I've been put on the spot. I really need to think about it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you do, let me know. I know how to ask it. So, all right. That's all we have for you today, guys. Hey, if you're listening to this, whether you're listening live or watching live, or you catch it later this week, know this: we love you, but more importantly, Christ loves you, and we believe that the presence of God is with you, even when you don't always realize it or know it. And so is the church. And so as you go out this week and as you cultivate a just and generous faith and your expression of Jesus Christ, we pray that you do it with a spirit of love, hope, and faith. And we hope that you have a great week. And we'll catch you again on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock on State Street's live stream. And again, next Thursday at 3:30 for our midweek update. All right. Thanks a lot again so much. Wait, thanks so much. Oh, I screwed this up. Bye-bye.